Welcome back to the Football Terrace, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of Straight Facts. I'm joined as ever Wednesday afternoon. Jess Black is here. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. How are you?
I am all right. I'm all right. Looking forward to the game tonight. I've kind of calmed down a little bit after a couple of tumultuous days as a Man United fan, but yeah, I'm good. I'm very, very good indeed.
Let's just make sure we don't lie about you on your channel.
No
That's all we have to
lying
make sure.
about no lying about Terry Fleurs on his own show. Lie about me on your own show all you want, but not on mine. No, I'm only messing. Lots to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be looking at why Liverpool have created so much outrage on social media today. Lots of angry people after Arsenal versus Liverpool was postponed. Lots of angry people everywhere. Even me trying to ascertain information has led to very angry responses from people. So we're going to take a look at that. Big claim from Simon Jordan and TalkSport about Liverpool maybe having players available. It isn't being fair. We want to get your views and opinions on that as live viewers. Of course, everybody listening to this as well. I'd love to get your takes. We're going to be looking at Man United, who are suddenly miraculously being linked to some very interesting and attractive players. Ruben Neves to Man United is on, we are being told. We're going to delve into that and more transfer stories. Antonio Rudiger, I'm going to reveal to you the exact amount of money that Real Madrid offered him. And I can tell you this at the start, it was not £400,000 a week. I've had this from a very credible source. And positive talks with Chelsea moving have happened and are moving forward. So we're going to take a look at that and what the future looks like for Rudiger. Take your quick fire questions later on in the show as well. But I need to. I think we've got to jump straight into the big trending topic today. Jess, and
Karen.
2 days around. But that's got to be your name now. It's got to call you Karen.
Karen, no.
For
Do
every
you
time
guys
you
have
moan,
Karens in the UK or no?
There are Karens everywhere.
Okay, because Karen over here is like you literally don't want to be a Karen. I'm the opposite of a Karen, but yeah.
I know you are. That's why I like calling you Mitch. You know what I mean? But no,
I thought we were calling Karen Klopp.
Yeah, we
right?
are. Karen Klopp. I mean, I've seen it. It's all in the comment section. That's why it reminded me of saying that yesterday. Remember, if you send your super chats in, people, we will we will put some up if they're relevant to the conversation. If not, we will save them. But I want to speak about the game. The game has been postponed tomorrow. Firstly, as a Gooner, how do you feel about the game being moved by about 15 days? You know, Arsenal in the ascendancy, playing well, Liverpool maybe on the ropes. Are you annoyed, frustrated, or do you just think it's all's fair in love and war? Like, how are you feeling?
Of course I'm annoyed. Absolutely. I'm annoyed. And like before, Liverpool fans come for me, COVID is serious. I get that lives are at stake, and all that kind of stuff. But purely from a footballing perspective, I'm thinking, when is the perfect time to play Liverpool? It's when Salah and Mane are not there. And you guys have injuries plus COVID cases, and you'll probably have to play some kids like that. That's exactly Arsenal crying because they were going to play Liverpool's kids 100%. And like I said yesterday, there's no shame in my game. I am not somebody that's like, oh, I want to play them at the peak of their powers. I don't. I would prefer to play them when they don't have their main people. No shame for me. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying just because now the first game that we played against that we're going to play against Liverpool is away from home. We had the advantage of playing at home first, which I think because the Emirates has become somewhere where we had good form, going to Anfield first could put us at a disadvantage. And then when we play the second leg, that was supposed to be the first leg at home, we have a game against Burnley less than 48 hours after that. So it has kind of put us in a situation where, we're not at any advantage whatsoever. And who knows, when we get to the 20th, when we actually play this rescheduled match, what kind of shape is Arsenal going to be in? So it's not the best situation. But that being said, it's not something that I'm going to lose sleep over. It's a lot of noise right now. we don't know who's going to be available for what, so we just have to take it out how it comes. But of course, I'm a little bit frustrated because it messes with our schedule, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with
Liverpool.
Liverpool's.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry,
Did you hear
sorry.
that?
Yeah, yeah,
I
it was
said
me.
Liverpool at the same time. Okay. Liverpool's game against Shrewsbury this weekend, because
Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
Shrewsbury. What did I
Yeah.
say?
Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury.
Yeah,
Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury. Whatever. That team, if they can, manufacture a team quick enough to play against them this weekend.
Look, I look at it from this point of view. I understand I understand where you're coming from 100%. As a Gooner, you wanted the game to go ahead. Liverpool haven't looked great in the last few games. There had a number of injuries already. Thiago, I think the goalie's out. Of course, Mane and Salah are gone. It was probably the best time possible to play Liverpool Football Club for you. And now it's kind of been messed up and delayed and put around. So I understand the frustration. Where I'm confused today is the outrage from everyone here. This isn't just Gooners. I've seen claims today. We're going to play one in a minute as well. I've seen claims today of they have players available. They haven't hit the threshold. This is unfair. Leyton Orient were forced to do it. Aston Villa played their under 15s basically in an FA Cup game against them. Liverpool should be made to do it. And I sort of feel a little bit I feel a bit sorry for Liverpool in that regard. I almost feel like, well, they've obviously put their application in. They've shut the training ground. The governing bodies and the authorities are happy with the application they're put in. We've seen some people, namely just Chelsea, have theirs rejected as an example. But I do sometimes feel like a bit more transparency and clarity is needed. Where I am confused, and I'll get into why I'm confused later, actually, it's the outrage. So the outrage I've mentioned from Arsenal fans. I even see a Crawley fan kicking off and getting angry about it. And I'm like, why is that? Why are Liverpool generating more frustration than other teams?
Well, we know why.
Why?
It's because Klopp has been. It's kind of like you can always get 1 + 1 = 2 when Klopp has been the one that's kind of the most vocal about COVID, fixture congestion, playing too many matches. Carabao Cup's not important. AFCON is a small tournament. We have the squad. We're at a disadvantage. He's made it kind of like where he looks like he's desperate to get some time off for his team. So you can easily look at this situation if you don't like that type of, whatever Klopp is doing, you don't like that, and say, well, he basically cried his way into some games off. That's not what happened. But I think that it's a little bit of that,
And I can kind of get that from people. So I get that. I don't think there's a Liverpool agenda, and I say that because we all think people have got agendas against their clubs. There are moments where we all have kind of main character syndrome. We all do it. We're all guilty of it. What I do want more clarity on, though, is what this ruling of 13 outfield players and 1 goalkeeper means. Because I don't think it's... Say you've got 14 outfield players available and 2 goalkeepers, but then the 2 goalkeepers get injured in training. I don't think you should be able to postpone matches if it isn't. I feel like it should be. You have to have that threshold is you have to hit that number on CV only. Does that make sense? I don't feel like if you've got 12 players injured, then 1 person gets CV postponement. I don't think that's kind of fair. And I don't think it's as black and white as that. I think, is the training ground open? Have people cross-contaminated and everything else? Equally as well, I always thought you were meant to be doing these tests before anyone came to the ground. Therefore, you would avoid those things happening. All I would like is some understanding. This isn't a dig at Liverpool. It's just an understanding of how does this work? Because if you have to do the testing before you arrive, and then you train together for 3 days and you've been testing when people have arrived and they've already mingled before they've tested, kind of circumvents the point of it. Does that make sense? It's like they have breakfast together and then they go and have tests. I'm not saying Liverpool have done that. I'm just saying I want to understand it a little bit. Equally then, how long do players have to be away from the game? I also think that needs to be clarified. That way people
I think it's 7 days and then a negative test.
Okay, so if it's 7 days, today's Wednesday, those the players with CV can't play against Shrewsbury then.
Right, because they play that. This is the thing is like I think it's 7 days and then a negative COVID test. They played against Chelsea on Sunday, so let's say that they just all got it on Monday, and they found out then they don't make it on Sunday. It's Wednesday,
and that's all I'm asking for clarity on. And this is with all cases. I think the problem that fans have with this sort of stuff is we don't ever get given the full detail. So conspiracy can be thrown out because we don't understand, because we're not given the information. But in terms of the outrage, as I've said, it's come from everywhere, because I tweeted I've seen. Actually, I'm going to play what I've seen. If I play what I've seen, then it makes a little bit more sense. If I play what I've seen, then it makes sense. This is Simon Jordan earlier on today.
Buggered off to a tournament last year and put out their under 23 coach. Yeah. So can't have it both ways. Or he had a cup tie, called it off because of COVID, and they couldn't get it re-established and lost $100 grand of TV revenue. True. So if Liverpool, with due respect to them, have got players available to play in this game, and they don't meet the criteria of getting this game called off, tough luck their manager's not available, and tough luck Pep Lijnders isn't available, because last year...
So on that, it goes on to say some other bits and pieces. The Leyton Orient thing and everything else, I think, is by the situation has changed. The situation is different. There's space to reschedule it. But it was just hearing him say, if they've got players available. And I was like, oh, okay. In my head, I heard that. I seen people tweeting it. And I'm like, where's this come from that they've got players available? So I tweet asking a question. Do Liverpool have players available for Arsenal? The level of responses I've got from literally people saying to me, why would you ever ask a question on Twitter? I was like, oh, because someone might have seen an article or seen a video, or somebody verified might have said something. Maybe there was counterclaims from Arsenal official. I don't know. I'm trying to find information. Some people are just responding with the ruling. And I'm like, no, I get the ruling's gone Liverpool's way here. That isn't my question. So that's why I'm a little bit frustrated about this whole situation, because I understand where Arsenal are coming from. The general football populace wants an understanding of the rules, deeper understanding of the rules. How many is it? Injuries and CV combined that can have you out? How long after you've had a game postponed do these said players have to be away from everything? And are they going to make that stand as an example? And equally, you look at it from that point of view as why have some happened and why have some not. A bit of clarity would sometimes help people. And I don't think Liverpool would get as much heat. On Liverpool themselves, I've got no issue towards them. They've put their application in. Their application has been successful. They've got it done. It's been moved. The only thing I think they're doing wrong is that they should make the first leg next week at home for Arsenal, and the second leg should still be the second game. The only thing I do think is unfair on Arsenal is you've now changed the running order of the matches, which can change the overall complexity of the game. Arsenal at home have been superb this season. They start off at home and win 2-0. It gives them a massive advantage and an insurance policy going to Anfield. They play the first game at Anfield and Liverpool win it 2-0. Arsenal Football Club are at a disadvantage because you've now got to win the game 3-0 to go through, as an example, and the pressure is different. So I do think that's the only thing I think that's unfair in this, is that the order of the games has been changed in that kind of way. But I think that overall, this is just another mess created by the officials and the governing bodies. And again, I get that Simon Jordan's come out of his claim. I am bothered by that. And it's where I'm bothered about his claim is I want to understand what he means by they have players available. And if that's they could have played their youth team and that was doable, I'm not even going to go at Liverpool. I want to understand why teams are not being made to do it. And, KJ came in here when Man United's games are being called off again. We've got a youth team for a reason, play them. So a lot of these claims have been made about other teams as well, to a degree. But I was just the outrage towards Liverpool today was the weirdest I've seen. It was very strange for me. Very strange.
Yeah, I just think it's a buildup of, I have to say, just the fact that people are saying Karen Klopp, I think that's a huge part. And then, you have the Chelsea fan base that felt like their game against Wolves should not have went on. Tuchel said that. And so I feel like it's a little bit of that. The Arsenal fan base is obviously, we're in like a long period of moaning because we've been mad since the Man City game. So it's just compounding things. So you have a couple of different fan bases kind of working together to make this into a big thing. And it's the story, and it is what it is. But, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just annoyed by where the fixture now is and the order now. I think being home first is a good advantage for the team that's people would expect not to be the winner. I think having home first is definitely an advantage, and I don't like that we have less than 48 hours in between that second leg that we will be trying to win. So we will play a good team and then play Burnley less than 48 hours after.
Yeah,
that is irritating.
That's one thing I agree with. It shouldn't disadvantage Arsenal, and I think
that's
does.
all.
Yeah,
but we don't know how. Go ahead.
There's a few comments here saying, Terry, the youth team game has been called off as well, so they can't play. And again, I'm not challenging Liverpool's validity. I'm not challenging I'm not suggesting Liverpool have sat there and made fake tests. I'm not suggesting Liverpool players, this isn't true. I'm talking here about the official governing bodies giving us clarity on these matters, making us understand what is and what isn't acceptable. Obviously they can't show people's medical records, but they can tell us their processes, and Liverpool have hit these thresholds. It makes it easy. If you've got to tick these 5 boxes to get it called off, and you can show you've ticked those 5 boxes, nobody would have an issue. The problem is it feels wishy-washy from the authorities again, and people are always going to lash out, and it feels like that if they feel disadvantaged. So look, that's all I'm really saying, but I hear your claim there, and everything else. Seeing rivals react, I want Klopp to moan more is what Cash has got to say there. We've got some more super chats here. Shouldn't be postponed, should be a 3-0 forfeit. Like, what's your take on that? Do you think the game should have been forfeited and given to Arsenal?
I mean, that would have been like so good. It would have been, but I think that was very far-fetched. We're not talking about, a team in League One, League Two. We're talking about Liverpool Football Club. There was never a chance in hell that they were going to do that to them. And I think that would have been good for us, but like it was never going to happen. What I just feel like it just is what it is, because there'll be a time later on in the season where we'll have COVID cases and we'll want something called off. And I want it postponed. It just has happened in a time where it's just right off of the end of a lot of criticism against Klopp, because he's been moaning quite a bit, so that's just it.
I hear that. Jason says, if you have many CV cases, your game gets postponed. So what's the problem with Arsenal fans? That's really dumb. Jason also says here, the only reason Arsenal are peed is because they know they can't win if we have a proper squad. 4-0 hurts, and I understand. James here says, didn't United get a game postponed due to CV? Absolutely. Manchester United did. And I've got let me just reiterate this again for anybody that's not you, James. I know you're not like this, but anyone that's thinking, I do not think it's wrong that Liverpool have had this game and Arsenal have had this game postponed. It's not wrong in any way. All I'm asking for, like I was talking about with decision making in the Arsenal Man City game, I just want to hear what the refs and VAR are saying to each other so we understand it. It's not about challenging them. It's going, I get it now. Like, logic is so important to me, and why. Let's not forget Chelsea were denied a game off when we lost 60% of our starting 11, and that's where that's why a lot
of it is Chelsea fans. Yeah, a lot of it is Chelsea fans,
because their view was, well, we didn't hit the threshold with CV cases, but we had loads of injuries, and that's why I'm asking. I asked a Newcastle fan that the other day. They went mental at me. I was like, so you guys had, like, I'm not saying you haven't had CV cases, but like it felt and looked convenient that you lost your 2 best attackers, and then we better apply for a postponement now. And it's almost a case of, I want to wonder, we've been told what the threshold is, 13 plus 1, the plus 1 being a goalie. But is that purely on CV or a mixture of the two? If we understood, then we know. But if it is a mixture of the two, then Chelsea have every right to feel aggrieved because they absolutely hit that threshold. But we're told no. Klopp never called the AFCON small. He tried to directly translate a German saying and the media spun it. Don't be one of those people, Jess.
I interpret it as differently than that, but fair enough. Fair enough.
He translated a German saying. I didn't know he did.
Well, they were basically like, it's like once he said it, there were people that came back and said that's not what he meant. He didn't mean it that way. You don't understand. I heard it as something different, and yeah, but fair enough. The one thing I will say to Liverpool fans that are like, you can't beat us with a real team, like without it being a decimated squad and all of that. I hear what you guys are saying, but regardless of when we play Liverpool, I am weirdly optimistic that we'll be able to maybe get something. It wasn't too long ago where Leicester lost to Liverpool, I think, in this competition, and then turned around and beat them in the league. So I know 4-0 was like this big thing. Man City beat us 4-0 or 5-1 or 5-0 or something the first time that we played them, and we were damn close, this last time. Yeah. So all this like, you guys can't da-da-da-da, and the best thing that could happen. Go ahead.
So what's intriguing is going to be, I think this game's going to have a bit more fire to it now. I actually think this is a good thing for the EFL. I think it will create a bit, because if you lose your first game at Anfield and lose it badly, Arsenal fans will be angry, especially forgetting the game being postponed. It'll be, well, we shouldn't have been here first. It will cause an element. It could make this a very, very exciting. Again, for me as a neutral, it's going to be very exciting.
That's not even the part that I'm mostly excited about. Like, and I get from a neutral perspective, it's like, well, how can this become more fiery? I'm just hoping that this creates some sort of siege mentality for our team. I feel like off of the back of the Man City game, not being able to play at home first. Also, the FA has kind of come back and like said that we were overly aggressive or whatever, 59th minute Man City, whatever. I'm just hoping that it galvanizes the squad. And that's just all I really care about.
I hear you on that completely. We have a comment here that says, if Liverpool's FA Cup game goes ahead as normal, in my opinion, it's the biggest fraud in football, is what Stephen Jacobs says.
I mean, it has to be called off.
I would be surprised if it isn't, based on everything that I've heard today. I do find it strange you get the semi-final called off, but not the FA Cup when there are 3 days apart. If they are going to cancel one of them, why not both? End of the day, Liverpool and the governing bodies are major corporations. They will never be 100% transparent with us outsiders. It never happens. And that's true. But when there isn't complete transparency, you will get conspiracy theories. I worked in the banking industry for a long time, and the amount of things I saw some of the biggest news organizations in the world accuse them of doing, there was some truth to it, but there was some weird stuff they used to say. And it was like, that doesn't go on. Like, and all of you, think of the industries you work or train in, and then think about the things you hear laymen from outside of your industry talking about. That's always going to happen when there's a lack of transparency. But I do hear you, Selection. Great comment. She's very rational, unlike the army of gooners online. This outsized outrage proves once again why Liverpool is the biggest club in England. Tahir says Leeds cancelled their game against Liverpool. Liverpool didn't cry about it. It is what it is. Arsenal need to stop crying all the time. It's a bore. Jess, I'm Kurdish, but speak German fluently. Even if it's a German saying, it's not just sarcasm. Still wrong why he used the element of language to describe AFCON. Still wrong, in my opinion. Big up to you. And I think that's what's interesting about the Klopp situation. I totally, when he said about the small thing in AFCON, I sort of feel like I understand Liverpool fans having his back, because Jurgen Klopp could absolutely have not meant it in any single way, shape or form to be disrespectful. I can totally buy that. I think what's important for people defending Klopp to remember is people will interpret it differently. And offense is an interesting thing, because offense is subjective. And the person that's offended has a right to be listened to, and sometimes it's you can be offended by someone who hasn't meant to do it, and it's almost a case of we both speak. We had a situation on the terrace the other day where Zayn assumed when Ben made a reference to cricket that he was referring to, like, directing it at him as a Southeast Asian man. When they spoke afterwards and we listened back to what actually was said, that he was like, "Oh, I didn't really realize that. Cool." They both still said sorry that it come across that way. Sorry that I called you out. Great, you move on. It's a misunderstanding as well. I think what I find interesting about this whole AFCON thing is some people really were upset about it. Instead of people going, "Do you know what? I understand why you were upset with what he said. He didn't mean it that way." It was more, "Screw you. He didn't mean it that way." And it's almost, I feel like the way, again, polarization. And then it becomes them versus us. And I don't think Klopp meant it in a nasty way, a horrible way, or anything like that. It was just the wrong phrase to use. It's almost, I understand why it caused offense. I know it's a big tournament. Shouldn't have used that phrase. Didn't mean anything bad by it at all. Apologies. The situation would have been gone. But it's the way everybody just started fighting each other over it. And I just sat back a lot thinking, it's getting a bit tiresome now, isn't it? Like, almost just say sorry. People then acknowledge that you didn't mean it that way. We move on. But maybe that's just my take. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. It's almost one of them ones there. What is it all? Watch. I have seen the clip, but that's my point. I don't think Klopp meant it in a horrible way, but I totally understand why people took it that way. That's the point.
I'm not saying that he's devious and all of that. I'm just saying that the way, like, I'm not going into whether these are right or wrong or whatever. I'm just saying there has been a accumulation of events with Klopp over the last couple of months or so that it just comes off as like, we need time, too much fixtures, our squad is thin, CV is a big deal, and how dare us, not do this and that. And so when you have those events come together, whether it's right or wrong and not going into them, you could easily get Klopp wind his way into days off. And that's not what happened, but that's the perception, based on this.
And I think on top of that, when you think about players going to AFCON, when I read what Sebastian Haller said, it resonated deeply with me. And he kind of, people asking him questions like, "Oh, are you going to go and play for your nation, or are you going to stay and play for your club?" This is where, again, people get too caught up in their emotions, because he was right in his response where he said, in his view, if this was a European competition, South American competition, nobody would be getting... that question would not be... If Neymar would not be questioned whether you're going to go to the Copa America if it was in January. Harry Kane would not be questioned if he's going to go to the Euros if it was in the January. He just wouldn't be. But people do look down, then a lot of people look down their nose at AFCON as being, it's not really, I don't watch it, therefore it isn't that important. So, and I think a lot of the players for these African nations feel that way, which is why I think Jurgen Klopp's comment would have hit a raw nerve with people. And sometimes it's all the crap you've got elsewhere, and then one comment from a very popular, very brilliant manager can kind of just hit you a little bit wrong. So I understand why that situation got to that sort of point. But I even put that out where the other day I tweeted about it saying I don't think we treat it with enough respect. And again, certain people in my responses, no, there's never been a European competition at that time, so it's stupid putting out hypotheticals. I'm like, so suddenly now hypotheticals are stupid. It's like, I'm not even getting into these debates.
Well, the World Cup is going to happen in the middle of the season, next season, is it not?
Yeah, no one's going to turn around to players there and go, I know that the Premier League doesn't continue and it stops, but no one's going to say, I'm going to paint a picture. No one's going to turn around to say Lukaku, go, look, we are neck and neck at the beginning of the season with Man City. Are you actually going to go and play for Belgium, or do you think you should take a month off, be fresh, and come back and win us the title? No one will pose a question like that to a European player. They won't. And I think we need to act with the same respect to all nations. And all we really should be saying to Mo Salah, to Sebastian Haller, to Eric Bailly is, good luck. Go and do yourself proud. Go and enjoy yourself. Go and serve your country to the best of you. That's all. That's the only conversation we should be having around AFCON is good luck. Go kill it. That's it. Like, I can't understand why I always feel like there's an underlying annoyance at the players for wanting to go, or at their countries for wanting their players. You can feel it. I've been taught my whole life to read. I've been taught my whole life to read undertones, and I can smell an undertone 100 miles away. And I can feel it in the way some fans are towards the nations or the players wanting to go. It's not nice. It's really not nice.
Oh yeah, because like I had to be like to get educated on the AFCON earlier in the season because I had a lot of anxiety. Obviously early, I didn't know Aubameyang was going to be what he is, but Aubameyang and Thomas Partey being missing, I was like, that is going to destroy our season. And, I had somebody come into my mentions and was like, I get that you don't mean anything by this, but like that competition is so big to the continent. Like it creates jobs, money, exposure and pride, and so thinking about it this way is offensive. And so from that, I was like, oh, like I need to not say it like that anymore. And like, cause I think about it from Arsenal's perspective, but I didn't think about it from the global perspective. And there is a lot of just looking down on that competition because it's not the Euros or the World Cup or whatever. And it's happening right in the middle of the season. All we care about is our club, but these boys want to go and play. So we just have to hope that they come back in shape and they have a good time and they represent their country well.
Absolutely. There's a super chat here that says, I'm from South Africa, a Liverpool fan, and I know Klopp was being cheeky, but it's not that deep. Anyways, Mane, Mendy, Sarr, and Koulibaly on one team sounds quite crazy.
Aren't they favorites?
They may be. Senegal, they could be, which is, again, it's interesting because it's one of the Liverpool fans for ages were telling me they're only going to miss 2 games. And then I looked at both Egypt's and Senegal's groups and I'm like, nah, they're missing at least 3 because there's no way they're going out early. But what I would say to this, rounding this point up, is this is the thing with any kind of comment, any kind of joke, any kind of moment. Not everybody will find it offensive. Some won't find it deep. Some find it highly offensive. But it's about listening to the wider. I'm pretty sure with you, Jess, if somebody said something that you found offensive, say you found it was offensive about Americans and you found it offensive, you don't need other Americans to tell you that it is or it isn't. It's about how you feel. Does that make sense? And I think that's the problem with this. It's almost, well, I've got a friend who's also American and he wasn't offended, so therefore it wasn't offensive. It's like, it doesn't really work like that in that regard. But Klopp is box office. He gives his opinions. The fan base of other clubs start to get into outrage, and he just sits and smiles and says, boom. Jess, when you club don't get to play in Europe, you weren't too concerned about fixture congestion. Klopp is the only manager complaining about it, is what Jason says. While is everybody talking about Klopp talking about AFCON being small when he didn't mean that, but not go to every European clubs for not wanting their players to go and play for their countries?
Maybe you're talking about Watford. I know that Watford has been having some issues with Emmanuel Dennis and Ismaila Sarr. They've been under suspicion of trying to keep those players from going to AFCON. The reason why we're talking about it is because it's intertwined with the conversation around Liverpool, the postponement of the game against Arsenal, and how we got to this place where Liverpool's postponement feels different than other people's. And because AFCON is around the corner, we got into this conversation. But we don't know what Klopp really meant. We don't know Klopp like that. So people just take things at face value. It is what it is. Like, what I mean? It is.
We don't know him. We don't know how he meant it. The point is, I am stating that I can understand why some people were offended, as opposed to saying Klopp's a bigot, he should be sacked. Like, again, that would be outrageously stupid to say those things. It's sort of, I don't think that needs to be said. Max here says the Aston Villa game was in a different competition, in a different season, with a different circumstances. It's whataboutism. Great point there, Max. Mm-hmm. Let's call it what it is. It's racism. The general outrage is it's a tournament for black guys, and the clubs competitions don't stop, is what's been said there. Thank you very much for your super chat and, of course, expressing your opinion. Got a few more here. I'm also South African, and I was offended. Sounded like he was saying Africans are only important when they populate your leagues. And again, that's an interpretation of how it felt. Absolutely. So I appreciate you sharing that, my friend. Thank you. Could this be an issue if AFCON continues once every 4 years instead of 2 years? Maybe have Euros and Copa and AFCON and the Asian Cup all happening the same years and the World Cup in the middle. It could. There has to be. I mean, look, what's thrown all this off was that delay to the season 2 seasons ago. They will eventually kind of iron itself out, and they'll get that kind of done. And that's also why I think we need to be respectful that this has only happened because of like a global catastrophe. This isn't good. This hopefully won't be the norm, and I don't think they want it to be. I don't like. There'll be a part of Mo Salah and Mane that won't want to leave Liverpool right now. You know, they'll be conflicted to a degree as well. So, yeah, look, it'll probably work itself out there. Arsenal fans should start a protest against Klopp, is what has been said there. We know Arsenal fans will never do a proper protest again. We love Josh. Viewers, make sure the like button is being smashed. Make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace. I want to talk Antonio. We are going to talk Man United a little bit later on the show, so stay with us. I want to talk Antonio Conte here. So I have some actual news from the horses, not from his mouth, but about Antonio Rudiger. So we all know that he's been talking to other clubs, or his reps have. We all know that he's been at loggerheads with Chelsea over a new deal. Some really positive news has emerged in regards to Antonio Rudiger. And I think this is a nice time for Chelsea as well. They had some bad results. They had the Lukaku drama. You've got Aspi and Christiansen and Rudiger maybe looking to leave and go elsewhere. So really not a good time to be a Chelsea fan for a few weeks. What's really interesting is you've got so you've got Spurs, by the way, with Peditici on a regular basis trying to make contact with Rudiger's camp. They are trying very hard to get him. There's been some kind of weird news in the last 24 hours that suddenly Real Madrid don't want a centre-back, or they don't want Antonio Rudiger. That isn't quite true, as I've been told. Where the kind of news took a little bit of a U-turn, and why the positive conversations are now happening with Chelsea, it turns out that Antonio Rudiger was never offered £400,000 a week by another club. Real Madrid offered him somewhere in the region of £140,000 a week. So whether that's Rudiger's agent, like trying to push the bump his money up, whether it's Real Madrid, whether it's another journalist somewhere selling this story to tempt Tottenham to raise a hand quickly. I don't know the way that, why this has been done, the way it's been done. But I was told yesterday by a very reliable source connected to Chelsea that positive talks have happened between sort of the management and the board and Antonio Rudiger's people. Nothing is agreed yet. Nothing has been finalized yet, but they do feel very positive about the situation, especially now they know that nobody's out there offering him 300, 400,000 pound a week, which they were never going to match, which was always the kind of weird elephant in the room when it came to that deal, because nobody, even the biggest Rudiger fans at Chelsea, didn't think he was worth double the money that Virgil van Dijk's earning, as an example, the precedent that could set. All that being said, Rudiger's deal looking like it could now happen. Silva signing a new deal. Lukaku and Thomas Tuchel being besties again. They go into tonight's game. Like that must be a real shot in the arm and a confidence booster for those Chelsea players.
You think?
I'm asking you.
All right, so yesterday I predicted a Chelsea win, and I still think Chelsea will win the game. I don't think so. The contractual situations of Silva and Rudiger, I don't think will be that big of a shot in the arm per se, just because those players have been playing out of their skin regardless of their contractual situations. They have been steady. Rudiger has went up levels, and so do I think it'll be like this galvanizing thing? Probably not, because I think they'll still be missing the players that are hurting them the most, which is the wing backs. That being said, the best thing that they could do is get Rudiger on another contract, because if you're going to give him 200 grand a week, let's just say at the top end, whatever you're going to give him new contract, where are you going to find somebody of that level on 200 grand a week, prime age player like that? It's hard to find good center backs. So there's no like center backs like that, so Chelsea just going ahead and diving in and giving him the money is probably going to be the best thing. You re-signed Thiago Silva, because at one point it looked like they were going to have to get 3 center backs. This allows you to focus on your center mids, so I think this is a good situation for Chelsea. Do I think it's going to they're going to have this pep in their step? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I believe that the Romelu Lukaku situation is smoothed over and they're all besties. That interview looked like he had a gun to his back and was like, go ahead and do this because this is the only way that you can play games for Chelsea Football Club going forward. And like you had kind of said, if you want to get rid of him, you have to seem like things are good. But that being said, I think Chelsea are in a good position to beat Spurs this evening. But do I think it'll have anything to do with the contractual situations of certain players? No, because those players have been playing well anyway.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Look, I feel like it's always nice to resolve something. The Lukaku thing, I feel something else is going to happen there. This week, next week, 5 months, 6 months, something. That's just the history of the Lukaku. But I think the Rudiger deal was massive for him, as you say. They do want to bolster that central midfield area. But if they lost 3 centre-backs, and there's nothing I haven't seen enough from Chalobah, and especially from Sarr, to say they are now good enough to take over the mantle of Aspilicueta, Christensen, and Rudiger. They're nowhere near. They may never reach that level, let alone next season. And Chelsea, their only objective every season is to win the Premier League. So you're right. That means they've got to go out and buy 2 or 3 centre backs straight out. They are not then getting their midfielders as well. It's impossible. It's actually impossible, in my opinion, to then get the midfielders you want. And then maybe, you could have this Lukaku situation rear its head again around that same time. So I think it's tremendous news. He's been excellent. I never rated him that much prior to Tuchel being here. I always thought it was good, a good centre-back. But I never saw enough from him that made me go, he's amazing. Yeah. He's one of the best centre-backs in the league. And for me, it's only been 12 months under Thomas Tuchel, but he is one of the best centre-backs in the league now, without a shadow of a doubt. He's been probably with Silva, and look, he's not played for the majority of the last 12 months, so I'm going to rule VVD out of it. You've got Rudiger, Silva, Diaz. Those 3 have been the best 3 centre-backs I can think of in the league. Of course, there's other people that have been good. Gabriel at Arsenal, I think, has been very good for the last 12 months, as an example. I'm trying to think of anyone else who's been near that kind of level, who's been really good in the Premier.
It's just been them. It's literally them. I been them. So,
yeah, you reckon, actually, by the way, best individual centre-back performance in the last 12 months, Phil Jones. Big up yourself, Phil. There we go. But no, it's really good news for Chelsea. It really is. Ahead of tonight's game as well, and I'm so intrigued about tonight's game. So intrigued about it. And by the way, big up I know you watch. Big up my source. I don't ever claim to really have sources. I know journalists and I talk to journalists, but this is the first time I've ever had a proper source. And cheers, mate. I appreciate the heads up on things. But
I really thought you were saying sauce, like
sauce, sauce. Sauce.
It sounds like you're saying sauce.
They're the same thing. Sauce and sauce.
It's a source and then a sauce.
Yeah, but sauce. I say sauce.
I didn't say sauce.
Say water. Say water.
Water.
What? So you don't pronounce the T either.
Water, but water.
Okay, I say water. Like, how would you say? That thing that's got bricks and a roof on it with windows and a door that you sleep in at night. What's that called?
A house.
Yeah, see, I call it an house.
Yeah, but I'm saying sauce and source are different, but you say the same.
No, I say the same words. Sauce.
Sauce.
Yeah. I know there's a difference between tomato sauce and who's your sauce, but I say it just sounds the same when I say it.
When you were saying, shout out to my sauce, I was like, your sauce. Like, why? Like, okay.
It's just Cockney. I can't speak well. Undereducated. Thanks for pointing out my undereducated dyslexic brain. Cheers, Jess. Absolute big respect for that one. But I'm only messing. So look, from my point of view, I look at this semi-final, Chelsea Spurs, and it's very intriguing. You've got the Conte effect. Kane's never won a trophy. Chelsea have been a little bit on the ropes. But what I can't get out of my head is Spursy. Spursy. They're Spursy, innit?
They need to be today. That's all I'm saying.
No, they don't though. I listen. I've got a lot of Chelsea fans that watch TFT. I've got so much love and respect for them.
But
no, it's a comment I read that's hidden, automatically hidden because there's a bad word in it. But it's just like swear word. And it made me laugh. I'm so hopeful of a North viewers, and listeners. Yes or no? Do you want a North London derby final? Do you want a North London derby final? Get your comments in now. I want to see yes or no's on this. Actually, I'm going to make a poll as well. I'm going to make a poll on this as well. Do you want a North London derby final? Have I spelled that all right? Yes. North London derby final. Do you want it? Get that in now. Banter final. Yes, is what Serim's got to say here. I'll tell you another word that I say different. Like I say weird. You know when you're like both words beginning with W. Like you know, like when something really good happens, there's a W word you use. You go, oh, what's the word?
wow.
Wow. Right. What's that big thing? A big mammal that lives in the sea that everyone always thinks is a fish.
A whale.
Yeah. See, I don't say. I go. I call it a wow. They're both wows. That's how I talk. I'm so bad. Yeah, wow. They're both wows. And then there's a country wows as well. There's country wows.
Wow.
There's those fish things, wows. And then if I'm shocked, I go, oh, wow. Just how I talk.
Oh, my goodness.
Dreading tonight, Terry. Hope Spurs nick a result is what Josh Smith says. Terry over, British accents, while Jess over American accents. Sauce is pronounced sauce in British English. Oi, oi! Go on, Kenny. I mean, is that true? Am I getting it right? I'm getting it right with a Cockney accent.
It's because I thought you were saying shout out to my sauce, and I was like, what?
Go on,
Makes no
Kenny.
sense.
My G. Thanks for the super chat as well. So I knew I was right. They're both
I
pronounced
didn't
sauce.
say you were wrong. I just said, why are you
No.
shouting out your sauce?
Why are you talking about ketchup, man? Oh my God, mayo. What?
You really need to work on the
Weirdo.
Jessica. You're not really
No,
getting
I'm not trying to do it. It's okay.
Oh my God, man. What are you saying sauce for? Oh my God, this is so weird. You talk so strange.
It's strange, proper strange. What's the poll saying? Oh, 55% say no, but a lot of them might be Chelsea and Liverpool, right? But I want it. I really, really want it indeed. I do. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the quick fire round coming up very soon on the show. So make sure you think of your quick fire questions to send in to the football terrace. Someone here says Jess has got a Mean Girls accent. Yeah, I can see that. I bet you're one of them ones at school, innit? Do you know what I mean? Daddy's credit card, car bought for you, looking down
What
your
do you
nose.
mean, Mean Girls? Like the movie?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you like that at school? Were you a little bit?
no.
I bet
It
you
was
were.
nice.
I bet you were. Oh my God, look, she's wearing last season's Louis Vuitton jacket. Get her out of our group. Was it like that in the hills?
Does that sound like anything I've ever said in my whole life? Like I would never say
Not now that
something
you're
like that.
37, but when you were young at school, like 16, 17, 18, like when you were there.
No, I was so nice. I'm
Okay.
so nice.
I believe you. Millions wouldn't, I think. But Lukaku
I'm
will
nice
score.
to you.
Sorry, you are nice,
I'm nice
to
to
me.
you.
Generally speaking, you are. Lukaku will score an own goal for Conte tonight. Can you imagine?
No, I need big 4-4, no safety to come out there and score. He does it against a small team, so today will be no different. Score a goal against some Spurs. Come on now, Lukaku. Let's do it.
At the end of the day, it's Americans who are speaking incorrect English. This is also very true. This is very true. You know what I mean?
I don't know how sauce and source could be pronounced the same.
You don't say things right. You don't say tomatoes.
Yes, the tomato.
Right? You don't say. My favorite Americanism on a word is when we say aluminium.
Yeah, you guys do not say aluminium.
Yes, we do. You say aluminum, but we say aluminium.
No, you don't.
I'm not making it. Why would I make that up?
I saw it on Horrible Bosses, and I was like, no, they don't. I've never heard an English person say aluminium, but
aluminium.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
in
aluminum.
fairness, how often are you bringing the word aluminium up in normal conversations? The last time I've only used it like twice in my life in certain circles. So when I was a kid, we had a project at school. Again, we say project, you say project, right? Project. Okay, we had a project at school, and we had to collect aluminium can. We ordered these magnets given to us, and whenever you found a can or you used the can, you test if it was aluminium, and you had to like crush it up and you put it into a bag and like recycling thing at school. The only other time is when I was doing my martial arts, and I had for shows you'd use lighter bow staffs. And we had bow staffs made out of aluminium. And I remember speaking to this American guy that made them. And I'm like, yeah, I want to get an aluminium one. And he was like, what? And 10 minutes, like, aluminium. What's that? Aluminium. I know what you're talking about. It says on your website, you say aluminium ones. No, we don't. But what does your website say? No, it was like that. And then he was like, oh, aluminum. And I laughed. I was only like 18. So what are you talking about? Aluminum. Yeah, they're the only two times that contextually I've used the words.
Okay, before we go back into what we were talking about, I am not 37. I am not 37.
Guys, sorry.
You are
sorry.
36.
Let me just
I will be 33 on Monday.
Don't ruin it. No, let me just interject, ladies and gentlemen. I am rude saying that. Jess is not 37. She's been towing 40 for a few years, but that Botox and the plastic surgery in LA is just like going out and buying a loaf of bread in England. So it's not like if she sneezes too hard, it cracks. Like it's not real. It's not really her face. She's 42. I'm only messing. Sorry, are you offended now?
I'm 32 and I'll be 33 on Monday. Don't y'all forget. Happy birthdays will be accepted. You, my friend, are knocking on 40.
I am. I know. I look good for it.
There you go.
Look good for it. Simpy here says, I would love a North London derby. Also, there was someone who super chatted that the AFCON is for black people. I take offense because people of different nationalities and tribes in Africa are not all black and persons of color. I hear you on that. I felt they were talking more. Some people attack it due to certain ethnicities that are in it. That's what I thought he meant by that. But I do hear as well. And listen, there's a lot. There's all different nationalities, ethnicities, religions, races. It's a that's the thing with like. It's one of the things that frustrates me most about like life. One of my little frustrations in life is people that don't realize that Africa's a continent. Sometimes they talk about like it's one place. As if every nation is the same with the same, you know what I mean? It's crazy. There's probably more diversity and difference across the continent of Africa than Europe. But that's just my take anyway. Cheers, Rack. Sorry, Rack. I think we had a few more super chats that might have come in. I want to make sure I missed these. Everyone else aeroplane, but Americans airplane.
Airplane.
Yeah. I like that. The metric system is funny as well. I hear you on that.
You guys say like meters and all this. I have no idea what that is.
A meter. Yeah, but
I don't know what a meter is. Like we do feet.
Meter, but it's confusing because, for instance, we will use meters and we'll use meters for some things and we'll use yard for others. So I'll use meters at school, meters if I'm buying some wood from a wood yard. But then in football, it's a six yard box, 18-yard box. So we mix
feet.
up. So we use feet here. We do so again. We do our height in feet. So I'm 5 foot something, right? And
you're what? You're 5 foot what?
5 foot something. Do you know what I mean? 5 foot just under 6. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of them ones where like 5 foot plus the tax. But like, so we use feet in that. We weigh ourselves in stones, but our actual official metric is kilos. So we are messed up in England. Nothing's consistent.
Yeah.
If Liverpool play Arsenal and City in the next 2 games and everyone is only talking about City game, Klopp says, yeah, but that's a small matter of playing Arsenal. Arsenal isn't small. But he didn't say this. Did he say the small matter of playing in AFCON? I don't know if he did. If he said that, then fair enough. I didn't think. If that's what he said, then cool. But thank you very much for that super chat, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you. I thought he said that small tournament. I think he still meant it sarcastically. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he said small matter of. I don't think he used those words. What 32? Down, I was guessing 26 range.
There
That's
you
a nice.
go. Yeah.
All right,
See?
calm down. A Californian, I'll tell you, we don't speak like that. Oh my God, for sure. English is
Exactly.
spoken language in America, and English needs to be learned. And every part of England speaks differently. This is true. That's what I love about my country. Like, we're so small. We're smaller than some of your states, but the difference in dialect and accent from top to bottom is it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty.
Yes.
Terry is small. I'm not 5'5" or 5'6". Jeez, chill out, man. Let's not forget, nobody cares for Arsenal. The first 3 games when they had CV and injuries, we were classed as weak. But but Karen Klopp gets his way. Question for both of you: who do you think will win the Prem again first, Man United or Arsenal? I'll let you answer that. Cheers, Mike Gill. What are you saying?
If I had to guess based on current events, I would say we might be a little bit closer than you guys are. But that could all change very quickly. But I would say us.
100%.
But we're still a
you,
long
man.
ways away.
Yeah, I mean, both are a hell of a long way away. It's a bit like it's a long way away. Man United are nowhere near. We haven't even gotten to Man United on the show yet, but we're nowhere near it yet.
Can't wait to get to the Man United conversation.
Listening to Twitter Spaces, Arsenal and Spurs fans do not want to face each other because of the shame of losing the final. Yeah, of course. I totally get why they don't want to play each other, but that's why I want it, because it doesn't matter to me who wins. Jess, you rock. You represent Arsenal fans on here well, but the rest of the world speaks like the British English, but only Americans speak American English. Absolutely. Thank you very much here. How would you pronounce that? Smithy. Okay.
Smithy.
Thank you very much indeed for becoming an official Academy member of the Terrace Legend. We as Americans say Derby differently. Do you? How would you say Derby?
It's a Derby.
Derby's
a Derby.
Derby's a place, or as in like Derby when you play.
I think they're saying like the Kentucky Derby, like that is
Derby?
like an event here.
Derby,
yeah, a Derby,
Derby. Okay, Derby.
But when I say the North London, I say the North London Derby.
Derby. Okay. We're having a Derby, people. Derby.
You would like the Kentucky Derby if you went.
No, I've been Kentucky
Horse
before.
Racing.
I've been Kentucky.
Yeah.
I have been Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. Been there. I had a kickboxing tournament there. Louisville. Sorry, Louisville. I've been there. I was young though. Couldn't go out. We were stuck in a hotel. We were too young to go anywhere by ourselves. No shop around.
It was one of those where you guys were doing your fighting.
Yeah, I was like 11, 12. The Shrewsbury game will likely go ahead because Ellison will be back. Currently, Liverpool have all their goalkeepers out, is what's said there. Kevin Hart, that tall, that Terry. Listen, Kevin Hart, I could be Kevin Hart's bouncer. I'm a lot bigger than Kevin Hart, let me tell you that. Not as funny as him, though. I love Kevin Hart, though. He's great. Have you seen, just changing the subject really quickly before we go to Man United, have you seen the show that he did on Netflix where he kind of plays a comedian actor? Have you seen it? I can't remember what it's called now. I think it's called A True Story or something.
No, I haven't watched it.
The best thing I've ever seen him in, because it's serious and funny. It's great. She being Karen Black, looks younger than 30 is what's being said there. There we go. So
yes, guys. Give you guys my skincare routine. Get you guys going.
All right. Enough of that now. Enough of that. Right.
Oh my gosh, you get mad because I get compliments. All right, I see how you work.
I get nothing. These are my people watching me, and they give me nothing. They're terriers, and they give me They give me nothing. Make sure the like button's being smashed, people. Let's get this stream past 1,000 likes, please. It'd be amazing if you. Yeah, this is a good. Yes, David. She looks 60. Love it. Love it. Plastic cert. Yes, that's a skincare range. It's injected with stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. There we go. Yes, and I am jealous. It's called a joke. Terry looks 64. Cheers, Dave FC.
Dave. Cold.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. Manchester United. So There is some interesting news. I reached out to a few journalists about today. We know via Dean Jones and Pete O'Rourke that Man United were looking at Ruben Neves in the summer. That was confirmed by them. He is now ready to move on from Wolves. And what I've read, I've also had it confirmed to me by two journalists that he is. I'm not going to call it a transfer request. That would be a little bit maybe disrespectful. But he's kind of informed Wolves that he is ready to move on. And if the right offer comes in, he would look to move. That could be done in January. So he has said that. Man United have made no official inquiry for him as of yet. They haven't reached out to him, haven't made any new contact at all. But suddenly, the Man United press are straight on it. Neves could happen this month. Neves could be coming in this month. We've been linked with with Icardi today as well. Do you not find it strange that Man United are absolutely in the mud? The squad are at loggerheads with each other. The manager's not being listened to. The board have taken a leave of absence. Ollie's being blamed for it all again. We can't win games. We can't pass balls. Ronaldo's the worst player in the world. But suddenly we're linked to some exciting prospects again. Are you shocked?
Nah, they do this. Arsenal does this all the time too. You go through some bad games, and all of a sudden they start talking about linked with somebody exciting. That's just, it's distraction. But what I will say is that, like, during the Manchester United Wolves game, I had tweeted that he would be the perfect midfielder for you guys. In terms of, first of all, he could pass the ball. Like, let's just say that you needed somebody in your midfield that could pass. That guy has range and vision. What's happening there on your side? I'm speaking and you're doing something.
I just remember in a conversation we had in the summer where I was talking about how good Neves was. And by the way, I think Basuma's great as well. I spoke about how also like Basuma was very good, but I was like, Neves would be amazing for Arsenal as well. I just remember you weren't slagging Neves off. You weren't saying he was a bad player, but you and a lot of people were just like, Neves, nowhere near Basuma.
No,
I think
I said, so when I start thinking about, yeah, exactly. Stop. Let me finish. This is my part of the show.
Okay, go on, carry on.
But you're doing too much. Okay, so essentially, stop. Oh my gosh, you guys in the chat, let me know if Terry's being annoying. So I had tweeted that because Ruben Neves would fit your team. Like, he just would. And obviously, probably, no, I think Basuma would fit in better with us. But now, I don't know. Like,
so just to round that off, just to round that off, but I think Basuma is better than him and would be better for both of us. But I agree with what you're saying. Ruben Neves is an absolute star in the making. He is. I agree.
Yeah. He's young. He obviously has leadership qualities, which you guys clearly need. He has some sort of connection with Bruno Fernandes, obviously, because they play for the Portuguese national team, and he's definitely ready for a step up. And so I don't know if this is somebody that this doesn't strike me as a Ralph signing because he's not under the radar. He's very known. You know, you guys were linked with Haidara earlier and Boubacar Kamara. This is quite different than that. But he is somebody that would instantly make you guys so much better because the guy can handle a midfield on his own. And so he's very well-rounded. You know, he's not very quick or anything like that, but defensive awareness, his defensive numbers are always really good. And I think they were saying that 50 million is what Wolves would want, but you guys could easily make that happen. So you need the midfielder, but it also, I mean, do you think that this is convenient? You know, considering the storm that you guys are in, and all of a sudden you're linked with the midfielder that bossed you just a couple of days ago.
For me, right, when I look at a story like this, I feel like it could be true. It may be a much looser link than Man United are. We could be further away from than Man United are telling the press we are, as an example. So I totally get the PR element. He is a tremendous player. He is better than every single midfielder at our club, barring Paul Pogba. But he plays a different role in midfield to Pogba. He couldn't do the creative element that Pogba can do, but he can control a midfield much better than Paul Pogba in the Premier League. I'd love it to be true on the surface. At the same time, do I believe he's going to actually make us that much better? Are we going to start consistently playing better football? Are the players going to start working hard? Are players going to want to train past 5 p.m.? No, it's one of those signings where I say good business, very good player, very excited to see him in a Man United shirt, as in I just want to see what he could do, but I have no real long-standing hope that it would improve us. But I'd much rather him be in the middle. I still rather have Ruben Neves in a disjointed team in midfield for us than Scott McTominay or Fred, because he is still better, and it will make it may improve us a little bit, but yeah, it's very convenient. It's a very convenient time to be linked with him. It's a very convenient time for the news to come out. It's why, I spoke to a few journalists today, and by the way, a few people, I didn't speak to Dean today or Dean or Pete. It was two other journalists. I only confirmed that they said in the summer that United were looking at him, and they were. But I just look at Man United's team, and I just don't see. I just see the fact that I just don't look at it now and think one midfielder is going to make this massive difference when it's not like you could put Ruben Neves, Verratti, Pogba, and get a time machine and bring back Paul Scholes in midfield. It's not going to make AWB cross the ball better. It's not going to make particular players. It's not going to make certain players work harder. It's not going to make Maguire stop making mistakes. And so yeah, I kind of look at it and there's this part of me that's it'd be amazing, and then this other part of me going, stop, Terry. I've got these two little people on my shoulders. Stop. No signing has ever worked out since Fergie. None. Barring maybe Bruno. But he could be, let's see if he turns things around again now. I'm even starting to doubt that. So, yeah, I'm in such a depressed place with my club. And then I saw links with Icardi. And I'm like, why? Why would we even think about, talk about, look at, for me, one of the most, I don't know if he's a bad guy or not, but wherever he is, there seems to be controversy following him everywhere. Everywhere there's a problem, whether it's with his manager, players, whether he's been, out and about, do you know what I mean? Doing whatever he's doing with other ladies. We don't need that. Imagine adding that to what we already have. My God.
Yeah, that's like literally the last person you guys need. And you don't need a striker right now. Like, what is the point of bringing in a striker? You have two right now. I know Cavani may or may not want to stay, but like, you literally don't need that amount of strikers right now. Like, literally, that makes no sense. And I just have this weird feeling that Icardi wants to leave PSG. And he's been linked with Juventus. Now he's being linked with you guys. So it may just be a little bit of that. But like, he's literally the last person that you guys need. And yes, he's a good player. But like, again, we talked about it. I for one, don't have anything I don't care about Man United. But watching Greenwood suffer is something that I cannot watch. And bringing in Icardi would just make it that much worse. So yeah, no.
Yeah, it's that link doesn't feel real. The links to midfielders, links to Neves's and Declan Rice's, Hedara's, Kamara, they all make sense because we need those positions. If we're linked to centre backs, I kind of get that. Fullbacks, yeah. I don't want any new attacking players at the club yet, barring unless they are like elite. I look at it like Cavani's going to go in the summer, Martial's going to be gone, so you're going to get rid of two. You've got Rashford at the club. If we don't make Champions League, Ronaldo's gone. So then maybe you start looking at attacking players. But let's develop. If other than Haaland, Mbappe's not coming. So other than Haaland, let's develop Greenwood.
Aren't you guys bringing in Alvarez? What happened to that?
We're looking at him. As I said, the South American journalists are pushing like it's really close. You had Fabrizio say that it's agent talk. And then there was claims yesterday that now Man United have said, well, we'll only do it if we can get rid of like players first, like one in, one out, one in, which makes a little bit more sense. I felt that story the whole time was in the middle. Plus, multiple other teams are looking at him as well. But I don't know. I want to see Greenwood developed. But my fear for Man United, I was talking about it on the BV show yesterday. Look at be objective, and take your emotions out of it as rivals or as Man United fans. Drop your favorite players or players you dislike. Every player follows the same pattern. It happens at different times, but they all go backwards. You've currently got 3 highly talented inside forwards and you've got 4 when you throw Martial into it. I was kind of disregarding him because he's not been in the squad, but they're all making the same mistake as each other. Dribbling when they should pass, passing when they should shoot, shooting when they should play through balls or cross. And I know that Rashford's the only one who really gets criticised for bad decision making, but they're all doing it. You know, for me, I look at it and I'm like, I don't see any difference. And I just can't. It's one of the reasons why I'm told you, I'm conflicted so down the middle. I love some of the players we're linked to, but do I have any faith it's going to work? None. No, I'm done putting faith in this club now, you know. And someone messaged me earlier going, I love what you said, but don't you think that this could be the start of the beginning of the new thing? People, you know, it just might take time to get rid of these players and bring in new people and for Ralph to make it better. And I'm like, yeah, it could be. That's sound logic. But do I trust our ball to let it work? No. Somebody messaged me earlier and they were like, I messaged them because I saw their comment on it. And they were like, this is all on Ollie. Ollie's the one who, you know, came in and ruined the squad, ruined the morale. We're on our asses. Ollie's got like blood on his hands. I'm like, mate, what are you blaming Ollie for? Ollie's, of course, accountable for elements of this. Of course he is. And maybe some big chunks. But who gave him a new deal back in the summer? So if all this was going on, right, where he's not disciplining players are basically controlling what's going on. They're dictating when they train, how hard they work, how fast they run. They dictate who gets the new deals. The players are controlling the dressing room, but the owners just go, oh, great, yeah, go on, Ollie. There's another 3 years. That means one of two things. It either means they're endorsing that behavior or they're so far removed from their business they don't know what's going on. Either way, they're accountable. And we as a club, I'm not going to go over that old ground again, but there isn't an excuse I've seen given at a player or a manager that doesn't lead back to those people. And that's my fear here. This would be typical Glazers, right? What's in the bank account of the club? Oh, 60 million quid. Let's just go. Let's sign a Ruben Neves. Let's go get a Ruben Neves. Let's make everybody feel happy and excited for a few weeks. Everyone will leave us alone. People will buy some shirts. They'll build excitement for a few weeks, and then we'll handle the next disaster in 8-9 weeks' time when it all goes wrong again. That's literally the model that these guys have. It's painful. Oh, I couldn't care less about the London derby. For some reason, I've always hated Arsenal. Don't know why, really. Any idea? Perhaps it's because they are stuck up. I root for Spurs, I guess, is what Deborah Luck has got. A fellow American, there's Deborah Luck there over in the States. Having Wanda Icardi and Minoriolo running Man United would be the cherry on top of this mess of a cake that Man United... And that's true. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it? It would just be the pain. The pain of it would be horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Nobody would buy Ronaldo now or pay his wages. People would. Dean, I understand where you're coming from, but I do think people would. I
feel like there's got to be a clause somewhere in that contract where make it easier for him to go or something. Like, yeah. I don't know.
There'll be a no Champions League clause because he doesn't want to stop playing in the Champions League and scoring goals until Messi isn't in the Champions League scoring goals. He can't risk retiring and then his goal scoring record going. If he can kick a ball, he'll be there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into the quick fire round now. So get your questions ready for us. I hope you've done your homework this week. Let's do it. What's your quick fire round question for me?
I always forget about this part.
Absolutely. Horrendous.
I thought that the group, like, you know, the viewers would have questions.
The viewers may have questions. I've got one for you. I don't actually. I did do my homework either.
See. I was like, guys, send in questions because we haven't done our homework.
There's one that someone just put in the comments. Jess, it's a question for Jess. Jess, do you think Terry twerks for rival fans?
That's in the comments?
Yeah.
Does Terry twerk for rival fans? No, I mean, he has to be like neutral and unbiased and stuff. So it seems like it. We all know he's a Manchester United fan, but you know, he kind of has to speak the truth on certain teams. And so that requires him to say teams are doing well, even if they're your rivals, even if they're teams that you guys don't like, you know. So I don't really think that it's twerking. I just think it's telling the truth, you know, when it is such, you know. So I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's that bad. Would love to see Terry twerk, though. We should probably get him. Well, first, you're supposed to try to beat me in football. I haven't forgotten about that.
I
You
do
said you could
believe
beat
you'd
me,
probably be able to beat
fine.
me. I do believe you'd probably beat me at twerking. I do believe that.
But we want to see
I've
you
heard.
do
I've
it.
heard the
So
rumors.
we have
I've
to.
heard the
We have
rumors.
to. You haven't heard any rumors. So
Uh-huh.
basically, we should have like some sort of bet that if you lose it, you have to twerk, and we can put it on the internet.
Or set a limit of a donation like we did in the summer for wearing the lederhosen, and we'll do something for charity. That's more fun than a bet. We can do some bets, but then I want to connect a charity to it, and we'll raise some money for a charity. Get your member chats in and your super chats in for the quick fire round, people, as we always do. But yeah, okay. There was another question that came through here that I wanted to pose to you. I hadn't read the question yet. Jess, I think you might have been, I'll say, a mean girl. Have you ever called the manager because your ice was too cold?
No, I'm actually one of those types of people that rarely complain. The only time that I did complain the other day at the gym because people weren't wearing their masks, but I feel like that's like normal. But like I never really send food back. I'm not really that person. I just don't come back. And I worked in customer service for a long time, so I really am not like, mean to the people like the servers and all of that. I'm anti that,
I hear you on that. AMT here says, to me, if Xhaka didn't give away the penalty, Gabriel wouldn't have got red carded. Is that a reasonable opinion?
I think if Martinelli had scored that goal, I think that's more pivotal to me than the penalty for some reason. I just feel
yes. I mean, if you'd have scored the goal, you'd have been celebrating when that foul happened. So it wouldn't have gone that way. But I get where AMT is coming from. I think Xhaka's penalty and then Arsenal's reaction to it. Of course, he got a yellow card in that. I felt it just kind of unsettled you all a little bit, and I do get where you're coming from. I think that's a decent opinion to have.
Yeah.
Got some more here. There are quite a lot of questions for you, Jessica.
This
Jess,
is my show. Straight Facts with Jess.
Dre or Diddy?
Oh gosh, you guys, it's definitely Dr. Dre, and it's not even close. If you guys don't know,
who's Dr. Dre?
Terry, no.
I'm joking. I know.
Actually, wait, no, Terry, who is Dr. Dre?
It's very hard. I know he's a rapper. For me, he was the guy that like discovered and made Eminem big, right?
Okay, I'll let that. I
don't listen to rap music, but like I'm one of those people where on my phone with music, I don't know how many songs I've got on there. Say there's 3,000 songs. There's probably like 200, 250 songs that are in the genre of rap or hip hop, but I don't really buy anyone's albums. But I'll tell you whose album I did buy and listen to. It was really good. And I actually forget his name now. He had a song called Black Spider-Man. I really liked his music. I've listened to him a few times. I actually saw him in concert randomly. I was away and he was just at concert. It was free to go into concert. And now I'm like, I swear it's called Black Spider-Man. One of his songs. His name is Logic. Is his name Logic?
Okay, Logic.
Yeah.
I don't listen to him very often.
I'm just saying that's the album that I got because I heard him and then so I don't listen to a lot of him. I know who Dr. Dre is. I'm not that old and English and white. I know that's what you're saying without saying it. Undertones, people, undertones. So, Jess, would you let your future kids choose their club or would you force Arsenal on them?
I would let them watch as many documentaries about the Invincibles to try to make them think that that's the team that they're going to be supporting and hope they go in that direction. But you can't, I don't know if I'd force my kids to follow Arsenal. I kind of want them to have their own choice. I had a choice, so I didn't come up in the, you should follow whoever your parents followed or whatever. This person to the left of me didn't follow, or he would have been a Tottenham fan. So I think you just kind of let your kids pick who they want. But they will be watching Arsenal things, so I can be like, don't you like Arsenal?
I look at it this way. I concur that your children should have choice over so many things in their lives. Like as they get, like, I don't believe. Like I'm a believer in not christening or whatever the procedure is in other religions. I don't believe in doing any of that until the child is old enough to make their own mind up. That's my dad's mantra. I love that. People are free to do what they want. The only thing my children are not free to do is support another team than me. If my child doesn't want to support my football club, I will adopt them or I will cut them off straight up. Done. If my child is like, I'm supporting Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, they're just finished to me. My kid, like, honestly, I do not want to know him. I no.
You chose, you should be something. You should not be a Man United fan. You got choice.
You have no choice. If you want to live under my roof and have me feed you, have me water you, change your nappies,
not water you,
clean your bed when you pee in it. You want me doing those things for you? You want me beating up a boy that bullies you? You want me taking you to school? You want to use my car, sleep in my house? You support my football team?
I cannot. I cannot. Oh man.
Why do football fans want their own? Why do football fans want their own team? Want their own team to lose games on purpose when you don't even know everything can go right? I don't quite know what you mean. Can you read that for me in case I'm reading that wrong, please?
Why do football fans want their own team? Want their own team to lose games on purpose when you don't even know everything can go right? Okay, so maybe he's talking about fans wanting the team to lose so that maybe a manager could get sacked or something, when maybe you just need to wait a little bit and see if it goes right. That's the way that I'm interpreting it.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. If Terry lets them back in, I'm out of here. Now they're gone. The kids will be out, be living on them streets. Terry imposing years of abuse, misery on his kids. Listen, they are going to have to endure because the reason it is I'd rather suffer in misery with them over football and then watch them sitting there happy when Chelsea are winning league titles and I'm not. I will hate my children. It make me, I won't like them. I can't do it.
I'll hate my children. I cannot. I cannot. Like, oh, they're so excited with their little blue kits on and
imagine that. Imagine having to go into a store at Christmas and buy your children.
What if they chose Man City?
The flesh of my loins. I imagine me having to buy another club's. I've got that's the bit. I don't believe in wearing other clubs' shirts because you are financially supporting the endeavors of that football club, and every football club is trying to beat your football club, so you shouldn't do it. I've got 3 kids. If they all support, say they all pick Liverpool, it means I've got to give a year in kits and flasks and lunchboxes, probably about 500 to $1,000 a year to Liverpool. It means every year I'm making Liverpool Football Club. No, they're getting adopted. They're done. They can get a stepdad or something. I ain't doing it. That ain't happening. Gone. I ain't giving no money to another football club ever.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so funny.
When you start
your kids in little light blue kits and stuff.
Well, my dad's a fool. Listen. On the wall. Listen. Already started. I know. Can't do it anymore though.
I saw some conversations like on Twitter, like some clips of people talking about Rashford and whether he'll ever be world class or not. There was like a moment in time where people had started putting him, like talking about him in world class, like he's gonna be this, he's gonna be that. But where do you think, like,
who? Say what player?
Rashford.
Yeah.
Rashford. What do you think? Like, do you think that he's overrated? Some people feel like he's overrated and he's not really that good. Or do you think that this is a potential world-class player that's just in a bad period?
I'm feeling like the world-class thing's gone. So I don't think he's progressed. He's too old. I'm feeling like he's getting too old now. He hasn't pushed on from those early stages as I had hoped, as his ability has suggested. We've seen this many times over the years. But I'm not overly harsh on him because nothing that's happening right now to Marcus Rashford is any different to what's happened to nearly every other player that's played for Man United since the summer of 2013. They have all stalled, gone backwards, stagnated, become inconsistent. Martial, Rashford, Angel Di Maria, only here for 1 year as an example. Memphis, you start looking at it, nobody maintained the consistency. So if you've got an agenda against a player or you dislike a player, you've never rated them, the form Rashford's in is your confirmation bias. This is what I told you. But the irony in it is that you'll get that same person will be like, oh, but Martial's inconsistency is all because of coaching and training and development. Pogba is all because of the system, the coaching and the training. The painful bit about the debate is that if you wanted a player to foul or you thought they would fail, either one of those trains of thought, they are separate. This is, as I said, I was right. The problem is that we'll never really know the true answer because they haven't had the development, the continuity, the structure at the club to really show us, which is one of the reasons why I'm getting to a point where I'd quite like Rashford and Greenwood to leave, not because they're rubbish and can do nothing for my club. I would love to see both of those players. And this is me taking my Man United hat off. This is me just thinking football for a moment. I would like to see a better club that's structured better with a better coach look after them and manage them because I think they could be so much better. And the crazy thing is, Rashford gets a lot of flack, but I'm seeing patterns with Greenwood that I saw with Rashford. It's like, okay, you're doing these things, you're getting up, but how do you go to that next level? Why is it not there? Some will say Rashford's ability was never there. Some will say it's the coaching. You just don't ever know. When you look at all the things that are coming out about our club, it's painful. But yeah, I think the possibility of him becoming a world-class player, I think at 24 going 25, I think it's slowly eradicating. He can find form again and still be a very good Premier League and elite level football player, but he just hasn't had the development, the continuity. And my fear, put Rashford aside, is that the likes of Greenwood are following the same suit, really, and it's disappointing to see. It's a weird comment I just read there. Someone said we've got alligator skin. I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I saw that.
No,
I was like,
I don't know what that means. What kind of ball has feet but can't walk? What kind of ball has feet but can't walk? That's one of them horrible twit questions. You know what I mean? What do you think it is?
Has feet but can't walk. Mm-hmm.
Come on, think about it. Use your brain.
I am using my brain. Are you using yours? I gotta expend all my brain power on this.
Collective.
I'm not good at this kind of stuff.
What?
Is this a dirty joke?
I don't. Oh, hang on. No, I don't think it is. I'm trying to look at the dirty angle and can't see it.
What kind of ball has feet?
I don't know.
Legs, ball. Cannot walk. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I gotta
Someone
say,
says
I
a
don't know.
football. Someone says a football, but the football doesn't have feet.
Well, yeah, there you go. Football.
But no, no, football. No, but it doesn't have feet.
Yeah. That's it. It's a football. That's it. It's it.
We're just gonna say it's a football.
Yeah, I think it is.
The answer is the name of the show.
Straight facts. It's football. Nashville. Hey.
Oh.
Star-Lord, Joyner Lucas, or Tory Lane's Vikings, or Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones. I've only watched Game of Thrones out of all of them, so I can only say Game of Thrones.
With Tory Lane's okay. Yeah. Game of Thrones. I have been watching The Witcher. I do like it. Terry, you don't like it, but I do like The Witcher. I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. That's good. And The Last Kingdom is cool too.
I'm gonna try watching one based on your recommendation. But there we go. Listen, everybody that has tuned in, thank you very much indeed. please make sure you smash the like button, you subscribe, you are ready for tonight's game. We're going to be live after Chelsea versus Tottenham, the Tottenham. Until next time, people, look after yourselves. A great show. Thank you, Jess. Wonderful as ever. Make sure you go check out Jess's channel. She Knows Arsenal. Go and check it out. Until next time, my wonderful viewers and people, take care. Goodbye. God bless.